embraces the full spectrum of love, from tenderness to downright kick-ass.
Why does he look at me every time?
Force, if you will. But that in all cases, it's expressed with love and with caring and with respect for whoever he's speaking to, whoever I'm speaking to. Paul doesn't hear words and then decide what embellishment or intonation to give to it, because I'm conveying to him not just words but meanings that elicit the words and elicit the tone of voice. And it's important for you to hear this through someone who will convey it without altering it, so that you will be less afraid to listen to me directly. You see? As well as giving you an example of how to treat each other. Okay. Hands. The gentleman here. Yes.
Well, you've pretty much answered my first question. You told the gentleman to engage the world, the lady to engage the world, that what you said didn't mean do nothing. The other lady you spoke of, it can't be done in isolation. I hear a lot in discussions lately on Paul's discussion board, people who want to project an attitude of peace, suggesting what seems to me to be a withdrawal from the world. And my question was, can you overcome the world by withdrawing from it?
First of all, the world that is to be, quote, overcome is not the world out there. The world that is to be overcome is the world you have formulated in your mind and projected upon the kingdom of heaven, which is what is actually confronting you. And you overcome the world not by doing something to it, but by reaching somewhere else, you might say. Reaching into your communion with the Holy Spirit, or the Father, or me, or your guide. Reaching to a point where the Father's perspective can be provided, and in so many words, wash the windows of your mind and clear it of the concepts and the conclusions you've falsely arrived at about the kingdom of heaven, and then you call that false conclusion the world. But I want you to continue with your question.
In the text to A Course in Miracles, it makes some vague references to some sort of record. And it also suggests that one of the reasons we came to inhabit bodies was so that we could have experiences to improve this record. Could you tell me what this record is?
Well, in the first place, this body isn't something different from you that you have come to. You cannot exist without identification, just as God cannot exist without manifestation. As I've said before, the manifestation of God is not matter. Therefore, what you see is not matter. It's idea. It's purely mental. I'm going to put it in this way. The only sense in which you come to this body is in the sense of reincarnation, or a repetitive insistence upon not seeing reality as it is. The record, as you refer to it, is reality. Everything as God is being it, not as it is misperceived. Not as it is misperceived. And as long as each of you is insisting upon a misperception, you will repetitively be faced with the misperception and the opportunity to abandon it, which in some sense means improving the record, improving the experience of what everything really is. Once the record is completely improved, in other words, once your experience of body and world is completely free of your misperceptions of it and your commitments to your misperceptions of it, your body will cease to be important to you because it's no longer going to be what you're using to identify you to yourself. It will not disappear because the manifestation or evidence of God can never stop being the evidence of God without God becoming unevidenced. And that is an impossibility. But when you are not using your body, that which is the visibility and tangibility of you, as your means of defending yourself while you are insisting that you are separate from the whole, then, although your body will not disappear, it will fall into perspective in the context of wholeness, in the context of you as being consciousness, mind. And in that sense, the body will be laid by. But not abandoned. The infinite manifestation of God will be fully and wholly experienced as the presence of God instead of the manifestation of God. In other words, the focus won't be on the manifestation of God, but rather that it's an experience of God. God will be the point, not the visibility and tangibility of God. And therefore, the visibility and tangibility of God will not be a distraction from God. The reason it's a distraction from God right now is because the body has become necessary as a means of defense, while you insist upon the idiotic idea that you are separate from God and separate from each other. In the last gathering, I spoke about the transforming and renewing of your mind. The transforming and the renewing of your mind is going to, and the words I used were, expunge the material record. The material record simply amounts to the insertion of your concepts about reality between you and reality, to the point where reality has become obscured and all you're seeing is your best definitions. And that is what slowly becomes expunged. Now, the concepts, conclusions, and decisions that you have come to about reality always very specifically relate to reality. I'm going to put it this way: they always relate to the infinite specifics of reality, the infinite specific manifestation of God. So, when you look at a specific leaf that you have a belief about, a conviction about, that it's just matter, that it happened as a result way back of the Big Bang Theory and evolution and so on, your belief blocks your direct experience of the presence of God there. Therefore, as your beliefs become slowly released, it is, as it were, that the specific belief you are entertaining that stands between you and that specific belief begins to break up. And in effect, you could say that the leaf you were seeing becomes transformed into something, a leaf unlike anything you've ever experienced before. The materiality overlaid upon it fades, and what it really is becomes visible. The whole trip home is a matter of retracing your steps and undoing the act of hiding yourself that you engaged in at each point along your way away from home. And so there is an improvement of the record all the way home. Matter is unrecognized spirit. spirit seems to have become matter. It seems to have become polarized because spirit at some point began to be used for defense. And the misuse of it, the use to which it can never really be put, spirit can never really be put to the use of defense. But when spirit, what a thing really is, as what God is being, is put to a use that it cannot be put, it inevitably becomes a polarized experience. I mean, positive and negative. And it becomes one of the things that calls for you to be defended. The tree can fall on you and kill you. Your brother can be undependable and be a danger to you. Not because your brother is, but because when you are in a defended state, reality becomes a war zone for you. And at the bottom line, all of it is a result of having chosen for an experience of separation and then putting your body to a use it can't truly be put to, which is one of defense. When you use your body as a means of defense and it becomes polarized, then it can seem to be something that will keep you alive or something that will go berserk and kill you. Berserk in the sense of disease running rampant through it. It becomes an ally or an enemy. It even seems not to be you. And therefore something that you, as spirit, inhabit and leave. Well, it's not true. God and God's infinite manifestation of what God is absolute and unchangingly eternal. Awakening is a process of the material record being expunged. Not that there is a true record of materiality, but that there is a polarized perception of the kingdom of heaven that completely blocks your view of what heaven is right where you are. And the illusion that blinds you to reality must be improved. It must dissolve because it isn't actual, even though it blinds you completely to the actuality of reality. As long as you insist on being separate and therefore automatically defended, you will continue repeatedly to be presented with the effect of your choices and the opportunity for those beliefs to be improved. Until there is so little belief standing between you and the direct experience of reality, that reality suddenly takes precedence. You see it in spite of the remaining scribblings you have done and placed between you and reality, and the rest of the scribblings will simply disappear. When that happens, the infinite manifestation of God will not disappear, but it will be recognizably God, and your relationship with God, meaning the fact that God is all there is to you, will be what is meaningful rather than the manifestation, rather than the visibility and tangibility of God. And mind you, when I say tangibility, I'm not talking about physical tangibility, but the fact that an idea to mind is tangible. Mind experiences, and I'm speaking with a capital M, meaning God. Mind experiences its ideas as real and tangible, experienceable. And so instead of saying, oh, yes, this poem I raised from a wee little thing, boy, we had some hard times, but it's really come through. Instead of that, you say, wow, God. And the idea that it ever was anything else will be senseless as something that you nurtured and went through all kinds of problems with because of this fungus or that dry spell and so on, you see. And so the experience will be that everything is glorifying God. God's the point, not the thing that's glorifying God. And like I've said before, when that happens, it's like the underwear that you put on in the morning. You may have given attention to your choice of underwear, but once you've put them on and you are attending to your day, you never think about them again. They disappear from your awareness. Yeah. If they don't fit, it's a poor choice of underwear. The underwear don't actually disappear, but they're not where your attention is being given. The problem right now is that when you look at everything, you don't say, oh, God. You say, oh, my definition of that. And the minute you have a definition, I'm not trying to be repetitive, but the minute you have a definition and you give your attention and your commitment to that definition, you are taking spirit, treating it and perceiving it in a way that it doesn't exist, and what you're left with is always a polarized substitute that doesn't actually exist, but which binds you completely because you have arrived at a point of refusing to see God there. It's as simple as I can put it.
Is this chair God, would you say?
If there is anything going on there at all, it is God, yes.
And there is, right?
And
Is that chimney God?
does that chimney have substance?
Someone made it.
Does it have substance?
Yes, it's something.
It has substance. All substance is spirit. Spirit is God. Is that body, does it have substance? Yes, it does. And the minute you adopt the truth, but you can say the moment you adopt the attitude, if you don't want to go that far,
Yes, attitude.
that it is spirit, and spirit is God, then it becomes immediately obvious to you that it cannot have any capacity to be in a polarized state that can be of a detriment to you. And the moment that dawns in your thought, no physician will be able to find anything other than perfection there. Because that body is not a material body having to function according to laws of matter, where healing cannot occur if certain conditions don't exist, or if healing is going to occur, it's going to take a very long time. This is not true. And the moment you are willing to acknowledge the possibility and not defend yourself against it with arguments that this is spirit, there is substance, it must be spirit. Spirit is God. Then you will have instantaneous healing. If you don't have instantaneous healing, but you stay with that attitude, you will find that you will still have healing, although it will seem to be gradual. But the point is that it can reconfigure instantaneously because it never was a material body. It has always been, and is right now, pure spirit being misperceived by you with commitment from you to your misperception. Or misperceived by a physician and you given commitment to his misperception. Waking up can happen in an instant. It doesn't take time. It doesn't take growth. And healing can happen instantaneously. It doesn't have to take time. Because there's no material world to get out of, grow out of, or transform. There's a misperception that's blinding you and binding you that doesn't actually exist except in your imagination and your commitment to your imagination. And the sooner you realize this, the sooner you will be willing to see things transformed in the twinkling of an eye. I understand from reading conversations on the gathering place that one of the complaints is that without freedom to quote liberally from A Course in Miracles, there is no opportunity for a scholarly evaluation of it. And I see that, and I wonder why. Anyone thinks there's going to be enough time for a scholarly evaluation of it to occur before everyone has woken up?